scene.
When you want to lift your spirits sky high, you have to come to Croatia.
Croatia, full of life.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mirjana Cestar. I'm the president of Croatia House, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you here tonight to this special screening of Countryman. I'd like to especially welcome Sonia Parramatta, who is the chairperson and co-founder of the Australian New Zealand Croatian Women in Leadership organisation. So welcome Sonia. Before we go any further though, I'd like to, on behalf of Croatia House, I'd like to acknowledge the Darug people and the traditional custodians of the land where Riverside Theatre is situated. We pay respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the culture and history of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. What I'd like to do now is actually invite one of the film's producers, Pecotić, to the front to say a few words, which will be followed by a short recording from the other producer of Countryman, Joseph Williams. Thank you.
Thanks, Mirjana. G'day. I begin today by acknowledging the Darug people, traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and I mean it. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. I also pay my respects to all of you and the ancestral lands of your origins, whether that be from the beautiful countries around Australia or from much further distant lands. We are a product of these ancestral lands, and they've managed to bring us all together here and now. Dobro večer.
Dobro večer.
Ako možete razumjeti hrvatski, a po tim mislim na moj hrvatski, hvala svima što ste došli. Večeras je prva projekcija našeg dokumentarnog filma Countryman, ili na našem jeziku Zemljak. Želim da znate da ste svi ovdje dobrodošli. Bili ako njinda. That's Warmongal for, are you all good? I wish Joseph was here to teach you all some Warmongal. The answer is, Gamanda. We're all good. Bili ako njinda. That's good. Some more people speaking Warmongal is a good thing. And now for some words in Australian. You're also very welcome here this evening to this special screening of our doco Countryman. In Warmongal that's Manawalji, and in Australian, in Croatian, Zemljak. On behalf of Joseph Williams and Joseph very much wanted to be here, but the NT is still closed, and it looks like Tennant Creek could even be potentially going into lockdown. So hopefully through Zoom we can have a chat with him later. So on behalf of Joseph Williams and we'd like to thank Mirjana Cestar and the Third Croatian Film Festival and the board of Croatia House for supporting this film. Thank you. As you will soon see, Croatia House has played a part in this documentary. So it could not be more appropriate and beautiful that having this special screening is here with Croatia House's Third Croatian Film Festival. We'd also like to thank Elizabeth Kleinberg, Josh, Marty, up running the show up there, and all the workers at Riverside Theatre in Parramatta for all their support. And a special welcome to family members and friends of both Joseph's family and mine, and also a very special welcome to friends of my late father. And thank you all who are here, who have been involved in this film, and those of you who are about to be involved in this film. In 1956, my late father, Pecotić, migrated to Australia from Europe, and deep in his luggage he kept two small jars. one filled with salt water from the Plavi Jadran, from the Blue Adriatic Sea, and the other was soil from the island of Korčula. These were given to him by his mother to never forget the country, the land, and the sea that he came from. He kept these jars all his life. When I was a young fella, he told me that the lands in Croatian that I would inherit can never be sold. Before I could even think to ask why, he would say to me, "Sine, son, because they won't be yours to sell. Those sons are ancestral lands, and your job will be to take care of them." That was my first introduction to country, and my first introduction to relationship to country, and what is sacred about country. We all have places that draw us in. Po hrvatski nešto što nas privlače. For me, when I look to the Jadransko more, the Adriatic Sea, from a place called Ančila, near my father's birthplace, or look back at Sveti Ilija, the mountain on Pelješac, where my mother was born, these places draw me in. They speak to me, and in fact, it seems to be an ongoing conversation. I think we all have places like that. Some of these places are physical, and some of these places are metaphysical and beyond time. Some we can get to, and some we can't. When we're silent, these places speak to us, but when we speak and live in our lives in a perpetual state of distraction, these places remain silent. Many of us have become displaced from our ancestral lands, whether from traumatic experience or just simply migration. With that break in continuity, we can then be left not quite knowing whether we belong here or whether we belong there, or whether we belong somewhere in the middle. In modern Australia, what Joseph would call Captain Cook culture, we have a different approach to country. We live off the fat of the land, and in our day-to-day, we're so obsessed with property prices and mining concessions. But we all know what we're doing to country, and we all see the consequences. We think we own country, but country owns us. And before too long, but hopefully not too soon, we'll all return to country and become part of it again. This film started off as a road trip following my late father's footsteps on an ethnographic exploration of descendants of migrants with a similar background. But as you will see, it ended up following many other footsteps, including Joseph's, and learning so much more about this country, our country. We just finished a marathon of editing just a week ago to be completed in time for this festival. It was mainly shot on a smartphone and a drone, so Joseph and I didn't quite expect it to be on such a large screen. So in parts it might look a little bit raw, but it's all very, very real. Dear friends, thank you so much for coming to this special screening of Countryman. We hope it strikes a chord. Gamanda, hvala svima vama. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll now have the recording of Joseph. He's put together a recording for us for tonight, so I'll leave it with the house to roll that. Thank you.
Willia Kulnyinda, hope you're all well. I'd like to acknowledge the Dorog Nation. Dobrodošli to all the audience, the Olovich family and friends. Thanks to Mirjana, Croatia House and the Croatian Film Festival for supporting Countryman. Countryman is a very important film to me and all involved, and I hope everyone enjoys the documentary.
Thank you, Joseph, and thank you, everybody. We're just about ready to roll the movie, but before we do, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, the sponsors of the Croatian Film Festival. and our partners, of course. Podravka, of course, the Central State Office for Croatians Abroad, Screen New South Wales, Murmur Group, Pecotić & Co, Think, Dr. Pecotić Dentistry, Marinko, who is on camera here, and also tonight we've got Martina, who's our photographer. I did see she's over there. Thank you very much, both of you. And of course, the wonderful Riverside Theatres team, and Peter mentioned them earlier, Elizabeth Kleinberg and the team. So we're really, really grateful to be partnering with them. They've been very accessible and very accommodating. We've missed all our deadlines, but they still supported us, and we're here tonight. This is actually the final screening of the film festival. So we've had 8 sessions now altogether. So it's been, in our minds, very successful, and we're really happy to have you all here tonight as our guests. And can I just ask, before we roll the film, if you just, after the film, if you could please stay seated for a brief Q&A with Peter and with Joseph, that'd be great. So without further delay, let's sit back and enjoy being taken through this fantastic Australian story. Thank you.
Some seagull must have. And who's he to you?
That's my father's father. He's everything to me. He's who I am. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I had a choice. I was going to paint your old man, but I'll paint your granddad.
I think I got his nose.
Yeah.
He's a very, very strong man, Bajagić, so thanks, mate. This is awesome. Thank you.
All right. No worries, mate. That's my maternal grandfather, Naturula Williams. Mum's also in that shot when she was a little girl. He was a leader, an artist, a tracker, a family man, traditional man, a good man.
You all agree that was a sensational film, and it's been an extraordinary journey. You've taken us through an extraordinary journey, Peter. Thank you. And Joseph, thank you. You can see Joseph there.
Hey, thank you. I just want, if I can get, this is the first time we've had the sort of official screening. We had a preview the other week, but I just want you to help to share some love with some of the people that were involved in producing this, if you don't mind. And firstly, I just want you to all know that this is the final screening for this 3rd Croatian Film Festival, annual film festival. This is the only Croatian film festival that happens outside of Croatia. It's really important. You've got your French film festivals and your Italian and your German film festivals, but they've got Goethe Institutes, they've got the Japan Foundation, they've got Alliance Francaise. The Croatian government does support this festival to a degree, but Croatia's only the size of not even Sydney as far as population. We don't have the resources, so a lot of this is done voluntarily, and I just want everyone to give really good recognition for Mirjana Cestar and Croatia House and everyone that's been involved.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you. It was a help from Mirjana. It's been 7 of us, but thank you very much.
Hey, Yugi, can you hear us?
Oh, good evening.
Yeah, you're going, Joseph. Yeah, can you? I'll talk to you in a second. I'm just giving a few thank yous. Can you hear me?
Yeah, slightly, mate, a little bit.
All right, I'll try and speak up for you. All right. Where was I at? I was at Marinka Kero and Karen Kero from Kero Productions who have come to film. So thank you very much for coming to film today.
Thank you for having us.
Sonia Parramatta for being such a great connector and another catalyst for what has happened, and also for your work with the Australian New Zealand Women in Leadership. Thank you, Koala. Sonia. Mariana Rudan for your constant support of this project. Mariana, you knew about this. You were one of the first people to meet Joseph back at the Biennale time, and you've been getting the word out and supporting, so I just want to acknowledge that as well. Thank you. All friends and family that I pestered to watch the rough cuts over and over again, I'm very grateful for that. Kate Rathmula at the Ninkanyu Cultural Centre, who's been helping to set up these screenings. And Ivan Novak, keep going anyway. Ivan Novak and Leibach, who know about this film and who themselves have participated in the Sydney Biennale, and they're quite interested in it and supporting it, and they call it something that's very relevant to them. So I'm very grateful. The members of the Holy Dimes, who that sort of rock music that you're hearing, that was a band that I met in Alice Springs and interviewed, and they're just a part of Desert Country. So they volunteered their music to be part of the soundtrack. So when we do a screening in Alice Springs, we'll get them to come and play at the gig as well, and welcome to come to the screening in Alice Springs when the borders come up again. Robert McFarlane, I think there are friends of Robert McFarlane here, or relatives. He was a great member of the crew during the Sydney shooting. Consultant producer, friend and comrade Mark Lucas, for your support and advice and wisdom that's really propelled this project. Mark, you're in the UK. We've known each other for many years, and you really helped to push this through. You know how hard it is to make productions like this. And speaking of wisdom, consultant producer and master filmmaker Mark Gould. Where are you, Mark? Yeah, Mark Gould over there. Mark, you've been such a great mentor and advisor in helping us get through this very uncharted territory, and we've shared many bottles of wine while picking the film to pieces, and I expect we'll do a few more picking the film to pieces. Please recognise Mark Gould. So the only reason that this all happened was a conversation after having a silent retreat, a vipassana we call it, at temple. And it was a really good looking retreat, and I was going to get through 8 days of not speaking and not being on my phone and being off the grid, except we had a bushfire coming, and the bushfire had to evacuate. And the first words in conversation after about 4 days was with Dr. Erica Izzet, where she just looked at me and just went, "Oh, maybe you can help me." That was the beginning of the conversation, and Erica, I just want to say so much gratitude to you for introducing Yugi and I, and really initiating this whole thing, but also keeping the film on track and keeping it going on track. Great gratitude to you. Thank you. You heard a lot of people chatting through the film. That would be, I imagine, the Orlovich family that will get into this. I want to thank the Orlovich family so much for allowing us all to come into your lives at such a beautiful time where you're welcoming and giving so much love, and us being able to capture that. So I really, really want to express gratitude to you, and of course Mr. Orlovich Senior, who is here tonight as well. So. Is Andrew Den here? Yeah. Hey Andrew, how you going?
Hi Peter, good mate.
Hey, good. So
hey
Andrew,
Wongley.
You can't hear me.
No, you come down here a little bit later and you can come and say good day to Yugi. But Andrew is from Yugi's family from his mother's side, as he was talking about earlier, that he has Sydney family, and it's so wonderful to have you here as well and to greet you here.
Thank you.
Tamara Lakalo, are you here? Hey, Tamara. So Tamara is a friend who, so I shot all this footage, but I didn't know who was going to cut it. I didn't know who was going to edit it. And I needed somebody who edited as a day job, because this is the first time I've gone into this. It's not my day job kind of thing. So I wanted to have a nice professional editor, but I wanted to find an editor that could understand us and us mob. And I had a coffee with Tamara just to tell her about the story, and she loved the story, but then I asked, would you know an editor? And she goes, oh yes, sure, Snežan. He just moved in up the road from you. And so she introduced me to Snežan. So just this whole process of things just appearing. Snežan is another wonderful friend and collaborator now, who basically is an absolute maestro and made something that's shot on the phone look like something can be on a cinema screen. And you've been a great colleague and a great friend, and thank you so much for spending months with me over COVID to get this cut. And thank you all who've become part of the story as well, who weren't directly involved. And finally, please help me share some love and gratitude to my co-producer, friend, brother, Bharat Moy, and my countryman, Joseph Williams.
All right, thank you, Peter. Thank you very much, and thank you, Joseph. Can you hear everything okay? Coming in? Test, 1, 2. Yeah, all good. Look, Joseph, I might start with you actually, just with a few questions. You know, Countryman, it's obviously made a huge impact here in Sydney already, just with this two screenings that we've had. What do you think is the potential impact of Countryman on the community in Tennant Creek?
Our people here, Warramunga people, sharing their culture to the wider audience of the world, and they'll be happy, I think, because of that. Yeah. And a good story coming from our community, this part of the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a fabulous story, and it's been told beautifully, really beautifully. With that as well, I'm just interested to know what did you think when Peter, you know, was on his road trip and interviewed you on Country?
Yeah, that was good. That was just me, you know, taking him out, looking around, doing his videoing, of course, sharing with him, you know, as a guest, and a fellow Dalmatian, I suppose. Yeah, but I didn't realise that I wasn't thinking ahead, like it was going to be something good like this film, this documentary now, that the world's going to see. I wasn't thinking about that, I was just thinking about sharing with Pete, that's about it, and yeah, being happy about it all.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. We've really enjoyed it, and it's the third time I've seen the film, so I pick up something different every single time. You did mention in the film that there was talk about going to Croatia. What do you think, Joseph? Do you think you get yourself to? Would you like to go to Croatia seriously? And do you see that happening in the future?
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
With the fellow relations there, Oliver's family, and maybe my kids. Tag along with me. Yeah, one day hopefully.
One day. I think we're all those of us who travel regularly are really missing it. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Just noticing the artwork behind you, it's very different to the artwork that you had exhibited at the art exhibition a couple of months ago. Maybe just talk us through that. It looks like quite a significant change to your normal style.
Yeah, started working with colour. This one here is Mystery. The one on that side is called Falling Star. You can see them dots, like that's dots are just like them traditional dots you would have seen for a long time from Central Australia, and the dots, our people do that here too in this part of the world. But I'm not using traditional colours and not traditional, but it could come from traditional stories at times, but I will do it in contemporary style with colours. Yeah, something different to other people, I suppose, artists.
They're really fantastic, and it'd be great we'd be more than happy to see you again in Sydney to do some more exhibitions. So looking forward to seeing what evolves from the work that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, hopefully sometime I go back there, do an exhibition like you said with you and the rest of the people that organised the last one. That was really good. I'm happy about that. And yeah, go back there next year or year after, whenever.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. We'd love to host you again and see the new works that are coming through and how it's evolving and how your art is evolving. I might just jump over to Peter now, if that's okay. Peter, what do you plan to do next with Countryman? We were talking briefly about some regional trips and showing the film. But do you want to talk us through what the next plan is and the next steps are?
The big thing I'd like to do with Countryman is to play it in Alice Springs and play it in Tennant Creek. And I'd love a whole mob of the Orlovich family to come along, and anyone else who wants to come along and experience that. And because you'll be on country with Joseph, you're going to be at home, and it'll be a great thing. The other thing I'd like to do is to get it to a lot of the Croatian community around Australia and New Zealand, because the New Zealand community also relates very much to this kind of story. And then the dream would be also to get Joseph to come with me to Zagreb to a film festival there and have a chat with the mob over there. That'd be a real dream. Ultimately, it'd be good, of course, to get it on wider broadcast and widest audience as possible. But I love it in this format where we can talk, we can get together as a community and just think about our ancestors and the path of migration that we've all done in the past. I think it's a beautiful thing. So, but I'd love to hear what questions any one of you got here for Joseph and I. So.
Yeah, is there any questions? We might do a roving mic, yeah? Has anybody got any questions? Yes?
Countryman 2, taking it to, as we said, to Croatia, that would be amazing.
That tower that you saw, that the Orlovich family would recognise, there was a tower and I was talking about going, that's Budak. Yeah. That's the beautiful village that the Orlovich family is from, and I'm sure the Orlovich family would love to see an image of Joseph in front of that tower and having a look at that country. That would be and to record that and turn that into a Countryman 2. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Take the phone there.
Anybody else got any questions for Pete or for Joseph? No? Bit of silence. I've got another question. Just in the movie you were talking about, after speaking to Joseph about initiation, how you felt that a bridge had been built in a way. How did this experience of making the movie and going to Tennant Creek, how did that change you? Or did it change you?
Yeah, the shift for me, and I described it a little bit at my beginning talk, was that I was taught about country in Dalmatia, Croatia, and the sacredness of it, that you can't sell it. It's something that you keep and you look after, because effectively it's like being at a gravesite. You sweep the grave, you have the conversation, but it's a bit broader than that. It's the fields. It's a broader sense of that. But I was only kind of taught that is there and not here. Over here, you get your property, you make your money, and that's also a part of the immigrant story here. Is that a lot of migrants? My auntie, Teta Maria Pokojna, she had a tomato farm in Parramatta. And that's how I love going to Cabramatta now and just looking for these old stari naši ljudi that are still left behind in this sea of the new immigration that's there now. But that story is with a lot of our families, is that they got land, they worked the land, and then they become multi-millionaires because they subdivided that off and they profited, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But the shift in me is that that this country is also the country of my birth, and getting to know Joseph and learning how to speak to country, to actually introduce myself when I go to a new place and just let them know if I'm visiting or intending to stay the night. You know, we all get infatuated by that stuff when we go to Thailand and Bali. We just are fascinated that people have a conversation with country effectively, but we don't do it here. And we can learn it here, and that's something that was shifting in me, is that I can learn it here and I can actually also learn to respect and to treat country as sacred. And that also goes further into how we treat our environment and how we treat our nation as a whole. So it was just bringing those two things together for me. It was one shift. Yeah.
Yes, there's a question, gentlemen. Yeah.
Just maybe to extend on the kind of question, with your kind of future work, do you think, you know, this kind of shift that has happened, I think, which is more kind of going toward, you know, an understanding that we all really kind of custodians of the land. Do you think maybe of your future work, is it something that's going to carry through?
I think so, because it's a shift in me, and if it's a shift in me, then it's going to be in a shift in the way I perceive whichever lands I cross. So I think that will go through there. I believe so. Thank you.
Any other? Yeah, there's another question back there, later at the back.
I just had a question for Joseph. First of all, Joseph, I wanted to thank you so much, and also all of your family. I'm just getting a mic here. I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing so much of your perception of your country, your culture, which is our country and our culture as Australians, but so many of us do not experience it. And for you to have shared it so intimately with us through this film, that's a great gift. And I don't know how you managed to trust my brother Peter to do that, you know, and to turn up with a camera. And look, my father was never without a camera in his hand. You saw some of the footage. But I'm so very grateful that you did that. And I'm wondering, you know, you spoke at the beginning when you were interviewed about the Tennant Creek Brio and about the work and how through your paintings and your carvings, how you wanted to make connections between people and allow both non-Indigenous and Indigenous Australians to understand more about each other. I feel that you've done that also through this film and through telling that story through the film. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I do, yeah.
That's
like you, I trusted Pete big time there, and that's what and I trust a lot of people.
Thank goodness.
But, maybe that's a bit dangerous, but what you said there, a lot of what you just said is what I like to be a part of, and sharing and all that.
Well, thank you. I
That,
appreciate it. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we might just, if it's okay, leave Joseph open, and if anybody would like to, if the family wants to come up and maybe have a chat via Zoom, I think we're all pretty good at doing that these days. You're more than welcome to do that. If you need to go, obviously that's fine too, but you're more than welcome to stay and continue on the conversation with Joseph. But you happy for me to?
Yeah, great. We can have a drink outside
Yeah.
too, so that's still going. But anyone who wants to have a chat to Joseph, just come over here, and you'll be able to see him. You can see me now, can't you? Yeah, that's good. Okay, then just come over here and say good day to Joseph, because he'd love that. I just want him to be as much a part of this as he can. So just come and say hello, and Matt upstairs will leave everything going for a little while. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you, son Joseph? Hello, how are you? Right? Good. Okay, everything all right? Yeah, good. But you know what? When people are making a bit of noise there, I won't be able to hear you. You can't hear me? Yeah, when people making noise, it'll cut out. All right. Just go on. I have myself. When I go to see you? When you come to see me. Hey, look.
Okay. Okay, I reply.
You gotta sit down in a chair, on a chair, I think.
Only for a couple of minutes. I just want to ask you how are you? You from?